Hi there. My name is Victoria. When I met my ex-husband, I was young and inexperienced. He seemed like an unearthly guy at the time, very gallant, intelligent, and well-mannered. I loved him deeply, and I believed that no one in the world had a love like ours. It turned out that he was from a very wealthy family and the sole heir to a vast fortune. When Arnold introduced me to his family, I noticed that his mother, Emma, seemed to have reservations about our relationship. Unfortunately, marrying Arnold, which I thought would bring me happiness, has turned into a daily struggle. The house that was supposed to be my refuge has become a prison of cold alienation and indifference. One morning, I overheard my mother-in-law Emma telling Arnold that I was weak, useless, and not worthy of him. She questioned how he could choose someone like me who she believed was not of his caliber. Arnold, I can see how much your mother's words affected you. As for your husband, it sounds like he has made his decision, but that doesn't define your worth as a person. However, I want you to know that you are worthy of love and respect, and you deserve to be with someone who values you for who you are. It's okay to feel angry and hurt. Take some time to focus on yourself and your own happiness. I couldn't understand why our relationship was deteriorating and why my spouse had become my adversary. I suspected that my mother-in-law was causing confusion in Arnold's mind, as he was afraid of her. So I decided to have a conversation with her. After waiting for Arnold to leave for work, I went down to the living room. Emma was sitting at the table drinking coffee when I asked to talk to her. Emma, I overheard your conversation with Arnold this morning about me. I love my husband very much and am trying to be a good wife to him. Please give us a chance to be together, I pleaded. Despite her initial reaction, she agreed to speak with me. Emma sat across from me, her expression filled with disdain. Do you think you're good enough for my son? She asked. I hope we can work together to build a positive relationship and address any issues you may have. I understand that you may have concerns about our relationship, but I want to assure you that I care deeply for Arnold and want the best for him. Despite facing some challenges, I remain committed to our love and will continue to stand by Arnold's side. After the incident, my mother-in-law and husband started to criticize me, pointing out various flaws in my appearance, lifestyle, and profession. It was a difficult time for me, but I didn't want to give up on my marriage. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out as I had hoped. I believed that love could conquer all obstacles and that my mother-in-law would eventually come around. Over time, my situation worsened as my mother-in-law, Emma, viewed me as an unsuitable match for her son, and my husband, Arnold, was unable to stand up to her. As a result, he gradually distanced himself from me, leaving me alone with my fears. After going through a tough time of feeling humiliated and lonely for months, I noticed my will to live was slowly fading away. My mother-in-law's words kept replaying in my mind, and Arnold's indifference only made things worse. On a particularly difficult day, I decided to take a walk. I wandered around without any direction, not paying attention to my surroundings until I stumbled upon a busy, lively street. Lost in thought, I didn't even notice the cars rushing by. In a panic, I stumbled and fell. Suddenly, screeching brakes jolted me back to reality. But then a kind stranger rushed to my aid, asking if I was hurt and if I could walk. But then a kind stranger rushed to my aid, asking if I was hurt and if I could walk. But then a kind stranger rushed to my aid, asking if I was hurt and if I could walk. Even though I tried to stand, I lacked the strength. Without hesitation, he lifted me into his car. He took me to the hospital where I was monitored and given the necessary help for a few days. Later, a friendly policeman came to my room and asked me some questions. I assured him that the young man who had brought me to the hospital was not guilty of anything. Despite my hesitation, I had taken a step onto the carriageway myself. After confirming my home address, the policeman left. While I was lying in the hospital room, I suddenly realized that I was breathing easily. However, I didn't feel like returning to my husband. After a while, the policeman returned to the room and informed me that he had already notified my husband about my hospitalization. I thanked him, and he wished me a speedy recovery. Throughout my hospital stay, my husband and his mother didn't visit me or show any interest in my condition. The young man who brought me to the hospital visited me often. I felt embarrassed in front of him because I was guilty, but Andrew, my savior, reassured me and told me not to apologize again. The cool, white walls of the hospital became a refuge from my old life. Andrew visited me every day, bringing me sweets, flowers, and most importantly, his attention and support. I always looked forward to his visits. His company made me feel less lonely. However, when it was time to leave the hospital, I was scared to realize that going back home would mean facing the memories of the pain my husband and mother-in-law had caused me. On the day of my discharge, Andrew kindly came to pick me up to take me home. He asked, "I can see that something happened while you were in the hospital. I haven't tried to ask you about it. Maybe you could tell me what's going on with you." "Andrew," I started, "I have nowhere to go." I wasn't feeling my best, and Andrew noticed. "I don't want to return to my husband. Could you please help me find a flat to rent for the first time, and then I'll go to my parents." "Of course, I'll help you," Andrew said with a warm smile. "You can stay with me until you decide what to do next." I thanked him, tears in my eyes, and explained the situation. Andrew was genuinely concerned and asked about my plans moving forward. "I can no longer live with my husband and will be filing for divorce. Although we did not sign a prenuptial agreement, I do not require anything from him. This is not the life I want," I explained. "As a lawyer, I can assist you with filing the necessary papers. For now, you should rest," Andrew comforted me. Over the next few weeks, Andrew and I became really good friends. He helped me with the legal aspects of the divorce. As we spent more time together, it was clear that he had feelings for me beyond friendship, but I tried to ignore them. I was worried that the past would repeat itself. One day, Andrew and I met Arnold at a cafe to discuss the divorce terms. Arnold sat across from me, looking sad and tired. He asked for a chance to start fresh. "Victoria, I realized how wrong I was," he began, his voice shaking. "I ask for your forgiveness. For all the time you've been away, I realized I can't live without you. I love you very much." Arnold's words made my heart beat faster. I could see the sincerity with which he said them. But at that moment, I suddenly realized that the past, no matter how much pain it caused me, no longer had power over me. I now have a kind and caring Andrew, who at this moment is looking at me, waiting for my response to Arnold. I hope we can both move on and find happiness. I replied in a friendly tone, Arnold, I appreciate the time we spent together, but unfortunately, our relationship didn't work out. My life has changed and am excited for what the future holds. I have learned to love myself for who I truly am. And I owe it all to the man who reached out to me and saw me for who I am. After signing the papers, Arnold had nothing left to do. Andrew took my hand and we left the cafe, while Arnold remained behind. I never heard from him again. After my divorce, I started doing what I loved most but couldn't do because my former mother-in-law disapproved of it. Writing. My books have resonated with readers. Andrew, on the other hand, continued working as a lawyer. Eventually, we decided to legalize our relationship. Our wedding was small and very intimate, attended only by those closest and dearest to us.